Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, this is part 3 of our Freqtube series of videos. In part 1, we did a walkthrough, listened to it on some different sound sources. In part 2, we compared the Freqtube to the Slate Digital Virtual Tube Collection. Here in part 3, we're going to compare it to a couple other plugins, the SSL Native Saturator and the Waves BB tubes or BBC? No, BB tubes. So we're just going to compare them just like we did in the last video, just to get a feel for how does the analog hardware here, the tube and the Freqtube, compare to some of the more popular plugins or the ones that I have. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So if you didn't see part 1 and part 2, links will be in the description box below. Go check that out. Make sure you stay tuned for part 4, where I do my likes and dislikes of this Freqtube. So full disclosure, this is a sponsored video and that Freqport sent me the Freqtube so I can do this video review for you. We're going to be giving this Freqtube away as part of a mixing contest prize coming up in the next few months. And you need to learn all about that by going to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Now, when you're at homerecordingmadeeasy.com, get the free mixing course. It's right at the top of the homepage. Just click the orange button. I'll send you a free mixing course. It's a $100 course, my gift to you. And when you do that, in that process, you will be on my email list, and that will allow me to not only send you different discount coupons and specials and deals on my training courses, but it'll also notify you when the next mixing contest is coming up to where you'll have an opportunity to win the Freqtube. So make sure you check out homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Like, share, and subscribe. So here we are in Studio One. Got all these beautiful plugins spread out all over the screen. Okay, so song we're going to be listening to again is the same one we've been listening to the last 2 videos, so we can compare apples to apples. And that is the song Bare Feet and Butterflies by country artist Lori Kole. Make sure you check out her links that'll be in the description box below. We love Lori here. Lori's had a lot of music featured on this channel, and we're going to continue to feature her stuff because it's great. Make sure you check out her stuff in the description box below. Thank you, Lori, for allowing us to use Bare Feet and Butterflies. Great country pop tune. Gotta love it. Okay, so we have this on the master bus. Now, keep in mind, this song is not mixed at all. I just imported the raw audio files, threw up the faders, did some panning, no EQ, no compression, absolutely nothing. All we're listening to are the plugins here that are on the master bus, and we're gonna listen to the drum bus in a minute. So keep that in mind, and I do that purposely so you can hear the full effect of these plugins on raw tracks. So while we're getting started here, you'll see that I've got the BB tubes here by Waves on the master bus. We are on bypass mode. We have the SSL Native Saturator. We are in bypass mode. And right now over here, we have the Freqtube here. We're using the E83CC tubes. We have the 12 AT7s on the drum bus, which we'll listen to before the end of this video, I promise. So let me just play this back from the beginning. I'll dial in the Freqtube here so we can get kind of a starting point to where we are, and then we'll compare it to these other 2 plugins, and then we'll jump over to a drum bus and listen to it on just some drums, which will sound really cool. And you let me know in the comments below which ones you like and don't like. So just keep in mind now, as I'm going through these plugins, I want to say it once here, just make sure you'll see, like on the Freqtube, the bottom left-hand corner, this is where I'm bypassing and turning the plugin on and off. And you'll have to keep your eyes on the bypass buttons on these other plugins to make it easy for good old Uncle Dave here in post-production. So here we go. We're listening right now to the Freqtube. Let's dial it in, and then we'll compare it. Bare Feet and Butterflies, Lori Kole, rock and roll.
Summertime and there's tiger lilies waking up on the side of the road. I've been chasing my tail way too long, and it's time that I go home. I gotta water my roots and fill my boots with memories and good old friends. Going home is like a kind of therapy, the only place where I'm gonna find me. It's I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree, innocent girl. This little farm was her whole wide world.
Okay, there we go. So there's the Freqtube kind of dialed in. Sounds pretty good. I like it. It's just got a nice little warm, just kind of glues everything together on the master bus. I love it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off. Let's close the the waves here for a minute, and let's just talk about the SSL native. Okay, we'll do this one first. Okay, so let me bypass the Freqtube. Let me dial in the SSL native. Now again, this is not necessarily a tube saturator thing. It's just a different type of saturator that I tend to really like. Let me dial into where I think it sounds pretty good here, and then we'll flip back and forth. Here we go.
A lot of things have gone in my past. Truth is deep down inside, I'm still all about their feet and butterflies. I'll throw my arms around some more folks before they start to disappear. Listen to a bit of that radio station, the only one that comes in clear. We'll sing along to some old song, dance around the living room. And even though I know I'll have to leave again, doesn't matter, 'cause where I am is down at the end of a dirt road. I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree, innocent girl whose little farm was her whole wide world. I don't wear hand-me-downs and I don't chew crabgrass. A lot of things have gone in my past. Truth is deep down inside.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to flip back and forth. So once again, your job is to keep your eye on the bypass button. Right here at the top of the plugin, you'll see the big VU meter, go out. That's pretty obvious. And then again, at the bottom left-hand corner of the Freqtube, so you can tell when that one is bypass. Okay, we're going to start with the Freqtube, and then we'll go back and forth. Let's go back to the beginning of the song. Let me know in the comments which one you like. Let's go.
It's summertime and there's tiger lilies waking up on the side of the road. I've been chasing my tail way too long, and it's time that I go home. I gotta water my roots and fill my boots with memories and good old friends. Going home is like a kind of therapy, the only place where I'm gonna find me is down at the end of a dirt road. I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree, innocent girl whose little farm was her whole wide world. I don't wear hand-me-downs and I don't chew crabgrass. A lot of things have gone in my past. Truth is deep down inside, I'm still all about their feet and butterflies. I'll throw my arms around some more folks before they start to disappear. Listen to a bit of that radio station, the only one that comes in clear. We'll sing along to some old song, dance around the living room. And even though
Okay, so what do you hear? Leave comments in the comment section down below this video. I'll tell you what I hear. Now, again, there's not one really, we're not going to use the word better than another because better is so subjective, right? They're different. They're very different, and they should be. They're not the same kind of thing. They're not emulating this. They're not trying to emulate the same kind of thing. They're different. It's a different type of saturation. But I'll just let you know what I hear because over YouTube, I never know what it's really going to sound like. So let me let you in what I hear. So on the SSL, I feel like even though we're not burying the needle here, it feels like it's a little bit more compressed to me. I like the way it sounds, but it just feels like it feels like I almost should back off the drive a little. It feels like it has a little bit more compression overall. Whereas on the Freqtube, it feels like it's a little bit less compression and it feels a little more open. And in the last video where we compared it to the Slate, I said what I love that the tubes are doing to her lead vocal. I love the way it kind of opens up her vocal. It doesn't seem to choke it off, where it feels like it chokes it off a little bit here on the saturator here by SSL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off the drive a little bit. Let's see if we can do that with the SSL and just see if it sounds any different.
where I am is
Okay, now let's try that compared to the Freqtube. So here we are. Go back to the beginning. We'll start with the SSL. We'll go back and forth a couple of times. Then we'll get on the waves.
It's summertime and there's tiger lilies waking up on the side of the road. I've been chasing my tail way too long, and it's time that I go home. I gotta water my roots and fill my boots with memories and good old friends. Going home is like a kind of therapy, the only place where I'm gonna find me is down at the end of a dirt road. I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree, innocent girl whose little farm was her whole wide world. I don't wear.
Yeah, so what I hear is, again, in that it's just the vocal. And remember, the song is not mixed. There's nothing on this stuff. So I just hear a little bit more openness to her lead vocal than I do with the SSL plugin. The SSL sounds good. It does, sounds great. But the Freqtube, at least in this example, again, we're on the main bus here. I'm really focusing on the vocal, and that's where I hear the biggest difference. I feel like I really like what it does to the vocal. So let's turn this one off and let's get out the waves here. The Magma BB tubes here. And what I could probably do is let me try to dial this in. Let me bypass this and let's just kind of dial this in a tiny bit. We got Beauty and Beast. I did a full review of this on the channel already at one point or another. You can go check that out. We could probably make this a little bit bigger here just so we can see it a little bit better. Let me try to dial this in. We bypass the Freqtube. So let's listen to the waves.
A lot of things have gone in my past. Truth is deep down inside, I'm still all about bare feet and butterflies. I'll put my arms around some more folks before they start to disappear. Listen to a bit of that radio station, the only one that comes in clear. We'll sing along to some old song, dance around the living room. And even though I know I'll have to leave again, doesn't matter 'cause where I am is down at the end of a dirt road. I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree, innocent girl whose little farm was her whole wide world. I don't wear hand-me-downs and I don't chew crabgrass. A lot of things have gone in my past. Truth is deep down inside, I'm still all about bare feet and butterflies. I gotta kick off my shoes and chase something other than my next dollar.
Okay, so I think I got dialed in somewhat. So let's go back and forth between the Freqtube and the waves. I'm going to bypass the waves, unbypass the Freqtube. Here we go. Let's give it a listen.
It's summertime and there's tiger lilies waking up on the side of the road. I've been chasing my tail way too long, and it's time that I go home. I gotta water my roots and fill my boots with memories and good old friends. Going home is like a kind of therapy, the only place where I'm gonna find me is down at the end of a dirt road. I never left 'cause I never really let go. Still the carefree,
Okay, so the waves, I wasn't ever even thrilled with this plugin when it first came out, and I did a review. It's okay. It could be really aggressive. We're dialed in pretty subtly here, and it still feels like it's a little bit too much saturation, but I feel like you get a little more low end out of the waves than you do the Freqtube, but the Freqtube seems like it's a little more open with a little bit more clarity. I had to choose between the two here, just in this one example, I kind of lean towards the Freqtube a little bit more. The waves is okay. It's never been my favorite saturator, but some guys really like it. And hey, that's okay, man. You know, horses for courses. Everyone's got to dig their own thing. So that's what it sounds like on a master bus. So let's shut them all off here and let's go to the drum bus, because we didn't do that in the last video. And I know people want to hear it on the drum bus. So we're going to open up the Freqtube here. We're going to turn it on. We're going to use the 12 AT7 tubes here on this example. And then we also have, what else do we have? I think we have the SSL up here. Yeah, let's throw the SSL up here for a minute. Oops, let's get this down here. Okay. And again, let me dial in each one of them. I'll start with the Freqtube. So here we go.
Summertime and there's tiger lilies waking up on the side of the road. I've been chasing my tail way too long, and it's time that
Okay, let me just solo up the drums here. That would be a good idea, right? Let's just solo up the drums so we can really focus in. I'll turn it up a little bit more so you guys can hear it. Okay, now let me dial in the SSL. Drive that thing a little more. Okay, now let's go back to the, we'll start with the Freq port. Let's go back and forth. Let's hear the difference. So here in the SSL is a little bit more bottom end on the kick drum, probably because I turned up the depth a little bit. We have a few more controls on this particular one, and I turned up the shape a little bit. So it's got a little bit more bottom end than the Freqtube does. Let me let's just listen to a part where this, you know, kick and snare here. So what I hear in this example, again, on a drum kit that's completely not mixed with EQ, is the Freqtube, the snare gets just a tad bit more open. It's a little bit more warm, a little bit more, I wouldn't say muffled is not the right word on the SSL, but it's a little bit more closed in. The snare has a little bit more ring to it, a little bit more openness. Again, once you did full EQ on this and really mix this up and really touch this in, it would make a nice little, secret sauce on a drum sound. But there's the two differences. You could kind of hear it in the snare. Yeah, so it's got a little bit more openness on the Freqtube. It's a little bit more woolly on the SSL, but the SSL still sounds good too. Again, it's a completely different type of thing. Let's get the waves out here. Let's just try this. Okay, let me dial this in for the waves. Let me bypass the Freqtube. Okay, let's start with the Freqtube, and then we'll go over to the waves here, and we can listen to the difference. Here we go. So the waves has a lot more bottom ends. Now it could be the tubes that we're using. If let me take the one off the master bus here for the Freqtube, because that's one of the things about the Freqtube is that you only get a, so now let's try these ECs, the E83s, because those are going to sound, I think they're more aggressive on drums. Let's listen to them. Let me bypass the waves here. Oops. Okay, now let's go back to the, let's bounce back and forth. We'll start with the Freqtube and then we'll go over to the waves. So what I hear in this example, and I'm sure you can hear it too, the BB tubes has way more low end. And even though I'm tweaking more on I was trying to open up that snare a little bit, this little tone shift here. So again, you have a little bit more, dialing in you can do on the BB tubes. Again, I'm not trying to get them to sound the same, just trying to get them to where I think they sound pretty good. This is way more colored, the BB tubes. And in this example, on just the drums, I tend to like the BB tubes just a little bit more than the Freqport. But the snare just feels more closed in on the BB tubes than it does on the Freqtube. I mean, it's interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think. Again, is this really a fair comparison? Not really, because, it's just a matter of they're different sounding. One is the BB tubes is emulating a piece of old gear that had tubes in it as a saturator, and the Freqtube is real analog tubes. So what are the differences? Well, again, you get a little bit more openness in that 1 to 3 or 4K range, I think, with the Freqtube than you do with any of the plugins that we've done so far, in particular the BB tubes. With the BB tubes, has a little bit more punch on the low end than these particular tubes, the E83CCs on the Freqtube. So they're both really cool, man. Which one is better? There is no better. It's really up to you. What do you like? They both have their place. They're both awesome. So that just gives you a feel between, this video and the last video. How did this, real analog tube, saturation box by the Freqtube, how does it compare to like just some plugins? And again, there's a million saturation plugins on the market that we could try, but it really, it's neither here nor, nor there, but this gives you kind of an idea. So what is my overall conclusion over the last two videos is that when I hear the Freqtube, and I said this in the last video, and it's true in this video as well, and I don't mean this as a knock on the plugins, because I love all these plugins. I use them all the time. I'm not the biggest fan of the BB tubes, but it's cool. But when I go from the plugin and I go to the Freqtube, when I hear the real tubes, because I'm so familiar with analog gear that has tubes in it, because I have lots of it in the Mixing Music Analog YouTube channel. Check the link in the description box below if you want to know what that means. As soon as I turn on the Freqtube and I hear the tubes, I instantly go, oh yeah, that sounds like the tube, some of my tube gear, some of my analog gear. Sounds great. Sounds like my analog gear. When I go to the plugin, I don't have that same feeling, and the plugin sometimes seems a little bit more hyped to me than the analog stuff does. Now, again, you can tweak these things and you can push these things harder or less hard, and you can change some of that kind of, feeling. But that's what I kind of hear. When I hear the Freqtube, I go, oh yeah, that sounds like, oh, that's what it sounds. That's the analog tubes, because that's what this thing is. It's really, really cool. But the plugins sound really good too. So, like I said earlier, there's no better or worse. They're just different, and they both have their place. But I wanted to give you guys a feel over the last couple of videos to give you kind of an idea of, well, this thing is expensive. This Freqtube's $1,000 US dollars as I sit here and record this video. These plugins like this one is $30 or $50. So, again, and people will say, oh, it's, some people will say it's not worth it. And, the cost of the Freqtube, it's not that much better than this, that, or the other thing. We can have that debate forever. That's not the point of this. It's just based on sound, not on price, but just to give you a feel for, does this sound different than plugins? It does. Whether it sounds better than the plugins that we've listened to, that's very subjective. And you'll have to let us know in the comments below, what do you think? I think in certain areas, the Freqtube is a better choice. And in certain areas, I may lean on a plugin a little more depending on the material. So that's it. So stay tuned for part 4, where we do just a complete wrap up of this 4-part video series, give you my like and dislikes on the Freqport's Freqtube. And then we're going to be giving this away. And you want to know how do you know how to win this thing? How can you learn how to win? You got to go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. The first thing I want you to do is get the free mixing course. Now, if you already got that course, because you've been to homerecordingmadeeasy.com a bunch of times, right? You've been following Uncle Dave here. that's cool. If you got the free course, or you bought some of my other courses, you're already on my email list. So you'll learn all about the mixing contest when we're going to give away this Freqtube absolutely free to one lucky winner. But if you haven't, download that free course. Okay. Now, if you want to take one of my other training courses on my website, I want to give you a 25% discount coupon code. That coupon code is YouTube25. You put that in the checkout, it will take 25% off any training course on the website. Once again, thank you to Freqport for sending me the Freqtube and getting freaky with it and allowing me to do this demo. I really appreciate it. And a special thanks to Lori Kole for allowing us to use her session for this demonstration. Thank you so much. Check all the links in the description box below. And if you want to purchase yourself a Freqtube, that's a Sweetwater link and it's an affiliate link. Thank you so much. And I appreciate it in advance. Until the next video where we do part 4. What do I like about the Freqtube? What do I dislike? Do I think it's worth the money that you're going to spend to have one of these things? You're going to have to come back for part 4. And until then, I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'll see you in the next video.